income countries, Uganda and Tanzania wako chini. Sijui kama kufikiria kama hii inarekodiwa.
Middle income category.
Wale wako low income category. Alisema the difference between us and our neighbors is that Kenya is in the middle income category, while Tanzania and Uganda and others are the least developed countries. They export duty free. Kenya pays duty. Angesema tu, you know, the difference between us is that we have to pay duty and the rest they export duty free. Lakini wengine amesema hapa ni ngumu. Akasema on that is on neighbors' economies, on how states trade with one another. Even as we celebrate these achievements, we must confront a sobering truth. The post-war multilateral system is broken, dysfunctional, and no longer fit for purpose. And this, he was targeting at the US. The Bretton Woods institutions recently commemorated their 80th anniversary. 8 years ago, 2/3 of the world's nations did not exist as sovereign states. The IMF was established to buttress the gold standard fixed exchange rate, a system that collapsed 50 years ago. Yani sababu now we are turning to China. Unachapa wale wengine viboko proper. Anyway, goofing home and away, do you agree that the president's diplomacy is wanting, especially given the kind of comments he made while in China?
Yes.
Other stories pale juu kwenye top strip, wanasema CBC learners get second shot at courses. Now alisema mathematics in senior secondary will be compulsory. That's according to the Minister for Education. That debate imeisha. Trump turns on Putin after attack. That story is on page 30. So walikuwa wamekuwa marafiki tena, amekasirika tena. Trump atatuonyesha maneno. Iko page 30 anasema, the headline is Vladimir stop. Trump turns on Putin after deadly Kiev attack. All right. And matters sports, starlets face Cameroon in must-win tie. Junior starlets tackle Cameroon in a must-win clash in Yaoundé today. All right. And that's the Standard.
All right. Daily Nation. Duale paves the way for SHA tycoons to pocket billions. Delayed consortium was, sorry.
No, I saw you struggling there.
Pole sana. Delayed consortium was set to receive 500 million shillings monthly starting February this year. The Say Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale has gazetted regulations enabling a Safaricom-led consortium to start receiving monthly payments for its 104 billion shillings investment in a new digital health system, despite an ongoing court case seeking to annul the deal. Now, this was very, very major last year. Kulikuwa na 4 consortiums, PRO, we had Convergence, we had Safaricom as well. Hiyo nyingine nimesahau, lakini ilileta sana tashwishi. People didn't want it, so it was quashed. And
sasa mawarudishia.
Unajua walisema blue-eyed boy. Ako hapo kuirudisha. Interesting. We will be there. Thousands line up to view Pope's body ahead of funeral tomorrow. That photo is here on the front page. We see about 2,500 people per hour have been filing past the body of Pope Francis as it lies in state at the St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican. What have you done to me?
Basilica, hakuna kitu kama Basilica. It is Papa a Friday.
Actually, it's Papa wa Roma.
Papa wa Roma. Yeah. He's actually the real Papa wa Roma.
He is. Okay. Other stories here. Kwame, why IMF debt sums for Kenya did not add up. Maths is now compulsory in senior school. And Kenya agrees to multi-wave funding plan for SGR extension. PS Somolo, no need to worry, will implement most of Maraga reforms. This story is on the back page of the Daily Nation, and that's the Daily Nation.
Right. On the Star, inside Ruto's new Chinese 650 billion shilling SGR contract. Stories on pages 4 and 5. Now, you know, this same administration had really criticized the last SGR contract, saying there are a lot of secret dealings inside that had not been made public. One of the promises the President William Ruto made while campaigning for presidency said that once he becomes president, he'll ensure that the SGR contract is made public so that Kenyans know exactly what we got ourselves into. Question is, this is a new deal, which is even more expensive than that one. Will we get to see this contract? Will it be made public? Railway project to cover Naivasha, Kisumu section. Let's take a look at the story in depth. They say, Kenya is gearing up to start construction of the Naivasha-Malaba standard gauge railway as early as July, following an agreement between President William Ruto and Chinese President Xi Jinping. The two leaders met to discuss the new funding model for the new railway line, which will connect Naivasha to Malaba, passing through several counties, including Narok, Bomet, Kericho, and Kisumu. Now, question is, will it be made public? Yeah. Other stories there, and they've shared a picture of the president and his Chinese counterpart, Xi Jinping. Wakikagua gwaride la heshima, president criticized the US over punitive tariffs. Remember last year, President William Ruto was a darling of the US. The Democratic administration of Joe Biden na ule Meg Whitman walikuwa marafiki sana. In fact, people were calling Meg Whitman Kenya's president. This is less than a year later. Amekasirikia US sana, amesema wale watu si wazuri. Well, we'll see. Major U-turn as CS Ogamba gets mathematics back on the curriculum, and that is a story featured also on the back page of the Daily Nation. It is here on the front page of this paper, The Star, and it will continue. More details on page 2. Tough laws await you, Murkomen fires warning to religious fanatics. Yes, with the latest happenings in Migori, and still yet to get past what's happened in Shakahola. Wanasema kutakuwa na new rules, but well, should we wait for that? Being a Friday, this is a weekend star, so it comes with a weekend pullout for Siasa, talking about the broad-based wars now triggers fault lines in ODM party and Nyanza. Wale magavana wawili wamesema
haifai hivyo.
Haifai hivyo, nyinyi ni kama mwelewi kile kitu tunafanya. Aha. And that's the Star this morning. Fresh, independent, different.
All right. People Daily, how SHA has left teachers near graves. The employer reveals that health authority rejected offer to ensure 400,000 teachers on grounds that it did not have adequate structures, putting lives at risk. Now that is TSC Chief Executive Officer Nancy Macharia and Legal Officer Kevin Anyur before the Education Committee in the National Assembly yesterday over challenges facing the medical insurance scheme for teachers. Hakuna walimu wenye wako hawana health insurance, and there was one yenye wanapewa, I don't know, inaitwa Mefit, what is it called? Pia ilikuwa na shida early this year. So basically teachers wanasema wana near graves. They're nearing their graves.
Kuna shida mingi sana.
That story is on page 4 of the People Daily. On the top strip, what happens after the death of Pope Francis? And tunaona kwamba thousands of people on the front page of the Daily Nation, lining up to view the body of the Papa, who is set to be buried tomorrow. State finally eats humble pie, makes mathematics compulsory in a senior school. That story about mathematics as well. Because CBC size your CBC tena. CBE.
Ni CBE.
Yes.
Competency-based education. Hata wakichange hiyo majina kweli itasaidia.
MTV Sugar series is making comeback after a decade.
That one was a serious one.
Yes. All right. People Daily.
Finally matters business, and this is the Business Daily. And interestingly, Kenya to take fast 64 billion shilling UAE loan. Amount is a third of total 194 billion shilling agreed debt. Treasury, of course, could draw more later. So this is what they're saying. Kenya will next week draw down the first tranche of $500 million. That's equivalent of 64.8 billion Kenya shillings from the 1.5 billion USD UAE-backed commercial loan as it traces to close the external budget financing target before the end of June. So clearly, to finance our budget this year, ile inakuja, deni lazima. Ndio hizi zinachukuliwa. Ndio hii inachukuliwa. Muspende. Competency-based education dialogue, and that features there on the front page of this business-oriented paper. And we see a picture there of Higher Education PS Beatrice Inyangala with Parliamentary Education Committee Chairperson Julius Meli during the national conversation on competency-based education at the KICC yesterday. Monga comeback with 166 million equity shares buy. Equity Group founder Peter Monga bought 3.64 million shares of the bank worth 166 million. Can I get more shares za your equity? How much is it? 166 million. Yes, get it. Inaweza kutuma viazi pale kwa The 3 months to March, backing a long trend of sell downs by original owners of the lender since it was listed in 2006. Interesting there. On the ticker, Ruto spending on growth projects dips to 11-year low, meaning even as we borrow, we're spending very little on projects that growth. Another story, telcos flag county taxes, illegal internet as threats, and finally Eurobond buybacks, loans lift debt service costs by 131 billion, meaning our debt repayment has gone up by 131 billion shillings. Do you know, hii hata ukichukua hiyo deni yote yenye amechukua UAE haiwezi cover. Hatuwezi. We are doing badly. We'll be looking at this and a lot more with my panelists. Youth perspective after the break. Niwaulize kweli mko tayari kulipa hii deni because hii deni sisi tutalipa. Ni hao. Shajitoa. Mimi nimejitoa mimi ni mzee sana. Hiyo deni vijana watalipa. Karikacha. Wazee wako kwa nyumba wanalala. Karikacha hapa tuanze na hii Star, and I understood this cartoonist. This is a new cartoonist at the Star. You can see even the drawings are very different. So he has 2 frames here. People watching the president in his China trip alongside Xi Jinping. Some divide Kenyans into 2, the pessimistic and the optimistic. The pessimistic anasema angalia ule jamaa ameenda kuomba. They're just getting more loans in China. But the optimistic are saying, awesome, this is going to open up Western Kenya with SGR. So where do you fall? Wacha unakumbuka ule mtu akilizwa during the election, maoni yako ni gani? Akasema sina maoni. Sina maoni. Are you the pessimistic type or are you the optimistic type when it comes to President Ruto's trip to China? That's the cartoon of the Star. This is the one on Daily Nation. Matters ODM pale. If anyone is opposed to this union, speak now. In ile union ya broad-based government. Lakini watu wameinua mikono ni wengi sana. Governor wa kwetu huko. Huko Cielo. Huko, yes. Kisumu City. Utaheshimu Nyang'nyong'o wewe, you know. We have James Orengo and we have, of course, Babu Owino pia pale. Anyone opposing this union, speak now. Ndio wale wana speak. Wamekata, lakini wametumia the ring boy pale na amewekewa horns. Suna East. Suna East MP Junet Mohamed. Yeye ndo amebeba ring for the union. Wanaitangwa waje wa vijana wadogo. Page boy. Page boy. Yeah, is a page boy hapo. Daily Nation. On the Standard wanasema panapo vita kati ya fahali wawili nani umia, nyasi umia. So hapa the 2 bulls that are fighting are the CBK and other banks which are the lenders. The CBK says it has reduced its base lending rate, so banks should follow suit and reduce theirs. Most of them have refused. Meanwhile, the customers are caught in between. Wanajaribu ku avoid kugongwa na hizo horns. Right now it's not the best time to go borrowing from banks because wamekataa kupunguza rates zao. Na wataumia. Customer wataumia either way. Kiatu atashatoka. People Daily. Bei ya jioni, what's your last offer for everything? And ni our government inauliza pale. Kenya is also caricatured there. Yendo anauzwa yote. Organs for sale, heads, brains, skin, eyes, kidney, heart, milk and legs. Unanunua breast venye imeandikwa? Yes. So actually, wanamimbi ile story ya Medihill. Ile watu wanauza kidney alafu unapewa pikipiki. But now, according to this cartoonist, the government is willing to sell Kenya yote full bei ya jioni. For all this. Jamaa kuna dollars na kuna hiki para inakaa kama nani. Hatutasema. All right. So Feel Good Friday. Later on, we'll be joined by Bansi Kimuyu and of course DJ Granite for some great hits and good times. Right. Meanwhile, interact with us
on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and YouTube, or next at TV47 News KE. My handle is at Ann_Dida. The hashtag is Morning Cafe. Feel Good Friday.
My handle is at Fred Indemuli. See you after the break.